Howdy folks, my name's Reagan. Welcome back to the GWP Homestead. Today we are going to fix this awful, disgusting, disorganized mess of a shop by building this wall. It's going to be such a huge help. Check it out. I came by these 2x8s. I think there's 24 of them if I counted right. Took down some shelving in my office building that I work at. And, we're going to make 2x4s out of them. So obviously this is a lot more work than what just buying 2x4s is. But even with lumber not nearly as expensive as it was a year ago, this is still going to save me a couple $100s, and that all of a sudden makes this desperately needed project much more durable, doable. So we're going to run these through my table saw, and I've got a little outfeed thing set up there on the ladder. We might do around here. You guys tell me this down in the comments below. What is the most, maybe like redneck or maybe just using some good old ingenuity, the weirdest kind of project that you've done? Because, making my own 2x4s is up there for me. But, we may do. Got a project that needs done, we may do, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And the result is going to be great. I can't wait to get this thing done. This is just about the farthest thing from fine woodworking, but we have all of our 2x4s cut. I went ahead, none of these are the same size, so I'm this is all flush, and it came down here just past the Barbie doll Jeep, and I went ahead and marked, and this is the shortest one right there. Ooh, come on, can you focus? There we go. And I'm just going to take a circular saw and go around this thing as deep as I can in those three directions and finish it off with a sawzall, and that way we'll have a whole bunch of studs that are the same length. I don't care how long they are, I just need them all to be the same length. So we got our bottom plate laid down here, anchored down to the concrete, and our span is just about 14.5 feet. I'm going from that column to that column, and like I said, I got everything's laid out. I'm using treated 2x4s. These are scrap left over from another project that we had done, and none of them are long enough, so I'm splicing the bottom plate. The top plate is also not long enough because I'm using these recycled boards, so that's where the bottom plate comes in. We have one stud, and then the top plate is going to be over this stud. So we're going to have some overlap here, and then I'm going to use a double top plate going up as well. Here's a quick tip for laying out these bottom plates from a guy who likes to pretend to be a carpenter on the internet. Don't forget when you're laying these out to burn that 3/4 of an inch coming off that wall there, because we're going for 16-inch centers, and if you laid out 16-inch center there, we'd be off down here. And because we're going to be using 4x8 plywood on this, you've got to burn that 1/16 of an inch. And a trick my father-in-law taught me for keeping that in mind is whenever you're laying these out, just remember the edge of that plywood, as my tape measure slips, has got to land at 48 inches, because that you want that 48 to center your stud. So the edge of the stud's actually at 47.25. So the edge of that stud's at 15.25, 31.25, 48.25, so on and so forth. I've got the studs on the very end screwed into place, and here's something that I knew was going to be a problem, or at least I expected was going to be a problem. All these are cut to the same length, but this on this post here is let's see, what, about 2 9/16 or whatever. That's how far out of level my floor is, and we're just going to trim all those studs to length as we go from there to there. It's not ideal, but short of level on the floor, it's my next best option. So we'll get that one there trimmed up, trimmed to the proper length, and then we'll start getting all these intermediate studs put in where they need to go.
If you've watched many of our videos, I know you've noticed the mess around here, and the reason that all this stuff is in the floor and in the way is because at our last house, everything, all my tools were on a wall in my garage. We had an attached garage to our house, and that's where I did all my work. And when we moved, we got this nice big pole barn, but there are no studs, and so therefore I didn't have anywhere to hang tools, cabinets, anything. And so that's why we're doing this project today.
Well, no one's ever accused me of doing things the easy way. I try and tackle a lot of projects by myself because I'm a dad. I have a young family, and my wife's usually inside taking care of the kids whenever I need to do projects like this. And so I've kind of become fairly well adapted to figuring out how to do stuff on my own. There are a lot of projects where having more than one set of hands around would be or is beneficial. This is one of them. However, if you can figure out how to make it work with clamps, with maybe a scrap board or an extra board you've got laying around, bungee straps, whatever you have, make it work, and you too can be like me. Sarcasm, obviously. But this is coming along really well, and we have the top plate, bottom plate, everything put together. Now we're going to have to go through and mark and measure. Of course, we already got all our studs marked out. We're going to go through and measure from top plate to bottom plate each stud individually, and we'll mark them on the top plate as I go so I don't have to remember each one. Since my floor's not even, the top plate up there is level, but since my floor's not, each stud's going to be just a slightly off, slightly different than the others. It's the reality of what I'm working with, but around here we make do with what we have.
Speaking of making do with what you have, my air compressor, which I run off of my generator because I don't have a 220 volt outlet in my shop and my sub panel's full, air compressor gave out here, and I had to use a framing hammer to drive in a few nails until the compressor came back on. Not sure if that problem is related to the generator or the compressor, but my framing nailer got going later, and it made the process a lot easier. I like swinging a hammer every now and then, but when I have the nailer, I prefer to use it. I talked my buddy Jordan into coming over and helping me out. He's an electrician, so anytime I have a question or a problem involving sparky stuff, he's the guy I call. And while I'm adding the blocking into the wall here, he's in the background wiring up the new outlets. I'm just letting him do his thing. He's smart. He knows exactly what he's doing, and it makes this process, whenever you're, if you're unsure about something, call somebody who knows, especially when you're dealing with something like electricity. It's always good to have good help around.
Now that Jordan's got everything all wired up, we got power back on, I've got a radio plugged into it, so everything works just like it's supposed to. We're just going to sheet it. I got some 7/16 OSB that we're going to put up. Plywood is going up. Today is end of December 2021, and plywood products are going, sheet goods going back up. So be aware if you're not already thinking about that. I'm going to sheet this thing, mark out where we're going to make room for our new outlets that we put in, and then we're going to start hanging stuff up. Cannot wait. I'm so happy with how this thing's taking shape. I'm really just tickled to death.
I brought these French cleats with me from my old shop, and they've been sitting in a pile just like everything else has been since we moved. And yeah, getting to put them back to work now. I'm not really using all that many because this wall's only about 8 feet tall, and I don't want to hang any cabinets any lower than about 54 inches off the ground at the lowest. So 3 rows for now is enough to get me started and hang a few cabinets and really just kind of start getting stuff on the wall, get it up off the floor, and as we move along I can readjust this if needed. But just temporarily getting this stuff screwed up and anchoring that OSB down to the wall, to the studs and everything, getting it anchored down really well, and man, this thing's getting solid. I love it. process of getting everything hung up on this wall where it needs to go, where it's going to live forever. It's probably going to be an ongoing thing forever, I guess, probably. You know, the thing about shops, or at least how I work in mine, stuff will be somewhere. That's where I think it needs to go. As my workflow develops, evolves, you know, that whatever that might be, may change. This clamp rack that I built 5 years ago, probably, geez, 5 years ago. I'm thinking it's going to go here for now, but it may eventually move. I don't know. We'll find out. For now, it's here. I'm going to move some other stuff around. You know, I've got loose screws and boxes of screws that have been, sitting on shelves and everything. We've got nail screws. We've got them all put away in their cabinets now, and there's more laying around here they're going to have to get put away. But, you know, this is about the journey. I spent 4 years in my last shop at our old house, in that garage, get everything the way I wanted it, and really, just didn't have enough space. We moved here. I'm blessed to have this shop building that's far from perfect, but I'm really happy to have it, and I really haven't been able to take advantage of it either. I'm really just incredibly thankful to be able to do this, because I've been wanting to do it for a year, and I just had to put it off. My priorities haven't been here, but now I've been able to put this there. So that means more DIY woodworking type projects, and you know, whatever else that entails, being able to open the shop up more to stuff that needs to be done, stuff that I want to do. We're going to have to build a new dining room table, because the one I built a few years ago we've outgrown, so that's coming down the pipe. I want to build a good workbench, because this cabinet that I've used for years is great, but I really want a nice solid top workbench. So that's coming sooner or later. I don't know. I might use some more of that lumber that we have laying around left over from this project that I have. So that's coming soon. Lots going to be going on. This will continue to evolve. You'll see that in future videos. I don't know if it'll have its own or not, but you know, that's why, if you're interested in what we're doing around here, please subscribe to the channel. There's always something going on. Are we going to be doing this? Are we going to be talking about goats? Are we going to be talking about our livestock guardian dog? I don't know what tomorrow holds. Stick around, find out. We really appreciate having you guys around. So thank you so much for watching our channel. My name's Reagan. This is my new transformed shop, and I'm really thankful to be able to share it with you guys. We'll see y'all soon.